So I went for an interview the other day, and they said to me, "Can you perform under pressure?" And I said, "I'm not sure about that, but I'd have a good crack at Bohemian Rhapsody." Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Black Dog Podcast, version 2, episode 29.
Good.
The energy fills the room. Look at it. Yay. You can almost hear like the sad streamer go in the background. Yeah, sad trombone. It's sad. Oh, well, anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to Black Dog. I'm Lee.
Unfortunately, I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Elton in lockdown.
Yes. Is that like Charles in Charge?
Kind of, yes.
Elton in lockdown. Yes. And this week, we will be reviewing Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is the second time we've reviewed this. But hey, don't let that stop us. You know, that was years ago. We might have changed our opinion since then. But it's all in honour of old Sean. Sir Sean, who left us only a couple of weeks ago to join the Choir Invisible. And so we shall be reviewing that. We shall be seeing how everyone's week's been this week. And we've got some feedback on the episode from last week, so we've got that to go through too. So before we get to all of that, let's see how everyone's week's been, and we'll start off with you, Jim. How's it been, sir?
Not too bad. Of pondering how this lockdown allegedly works when every cunt is still out and about, apparently, and all the shops are still open. Just, you know, I can't understand how COVID's worse than before when we pretended it's not happening and pretended it never happened, and it's still getting worse.
It's
What's
weird,
going on? It's spooky. In other news, my laptop appeared to develop some battery issues, which I managed to solve.
Oh, gold.
That involved me trying 3 different adapters, thinking it's probably the power transformer that's gone, before I found out the real problem, which was I'd plugged the power socket into the headphone jack. And somehow managed to do that 3 other times with 3 other adapters. How that happened, I don't know.
It's age, man. This is it.
Were you home to listen to power ballads or something?
This podcast is becoming a diary of our slow decline into decrepitude.
Pretty much it is.
Pretty much, yes.
However, just to carry on further into the geriatric realms, I've started I started doing a while ago. I now make my own bread, and but now I've got the point where I'm doing experimental bread.
Yeah, go on.
Difficult second album bread, yes?
Well, yes. Well, this was a recipe I actually saw on an oldie flyer, and that kind of for like an autumnal loaf or something they called it, which kind of
Got a leaf in it.
Wholemeal bread. No, the zest of an orange, walnuts crushed up, and a hint of cinnamon.
Oh my god,
it's really nice.
Oh.
Which has led me now to working on making a Christmas loaf, which the current recipe involves adding an egg, honey, cinnamon, chopped peel and walnuts, and the zest of a lemon. And the first one is really bloody nice.
Nice.
Wow.
And it makes the house smell amazing.
I bet it does. I bet it does. So is the series finale when you make one out of an entire bottle of brandy?
Well, working up to it. Maybe try it with Bailey's in instead of water. That might be the next dangerous step. Yes.
Go flambe! Go flambe!
Flambe bread.
This has been me, Jim, saying good night. Oh fuck!
Yeah. There's a bright flash from outside of the window. Cool. Yeah.
But yes, but other than that, I've again the old fart thing. I was quite delighted to turn on the old Amazon Prime and saw that James May had done a cooking series.
Oh yeah.
Which, I was trying to ration, but I have absolutely caned and finished it tonight.
Oh my
And
god!
that was an absolute delight. It's kind of very much reminiscent of the old Keith Floyd shows.
Oh right.
Cooking with an ever-present drink.
Ah, right.
And not to mention, kind of just refreshingly different, as he says, I can't cook, and he freaking does actually bugger things up. And just gives the game away on how they do cooking shows.
Nice.
And that's very, got some good recipes though as well, and it is just very funny. I do recommend that. Even if you don't like cookery shows, you probably like this one.
Nice.
And that was very entertaining. I just wish there was more. So, damn it, 7, that's not enough. Come on, do some more. Cook some more, James. Come on, I'm bored now.
Nice. Well, yeah, James May just taking Amazon's money and making any old shit. I mean, didn't he go to Japan like a couple of months back, or wasn't it like a Japan thing?
Yeah, I think so.
James, it should be just called James May's Amazon Retirement Fund.
Yep.
All right, cool. So that's on Amazon, yeah.
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay. Anything else, sir?
I'll leave that there as that. I think.
Okay.
Enough nonsense from me.
That's fair enough. You haven't knitted yourself a nice shawl or something, and then...
No, not yet. I don't need a shawl. I've got a nice little hot water dog.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Then we'll move on to Elton. Elton, how about you, sir? How's your week been?
It's been pretty good, actually. My back is slowly recovering. I still keep getting little twinges just to remind myself that, yeah, I've kind of hurt myself. But getting better, getting faster. Not doddering around as much.
Okay.
Oh, God,
Oh,
Jesus,
God.
we're so old.
I should just have a bed playing underneath, which is just an infinite loop of Steptoe and Son just playing underneath all of this now.
But I am getting better, so that is good. It's slowly getting there. And the only other thing I've really done this week is I've watched the first 3 episodes of Raised by Wolves.
Oh, yes.
And do you know what? I flipping love it.
I really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah?
I want to see the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this a hint?
I don't know. Is it, Lee? I mean, we are broadcasting, you know.
I don't know what you could possibly be talking about at all.
Are you a member of BAFTA or something? You know, do you get...
The odd screen
For your consideration.
For your consideration.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
I've been down to Blockbusters and they're shut. I think it's because of the lockdown. They're actually shut.
They've been shut a while. They anticipated the lockdown by a good few years, I think. It's fucked off early.
Yeah. They just decided
2006, wasn't it? Right? Yeah, let's be really safe. Let's be really safe. Lock the doors now.
The
They
ultimate.
just sat there just rewinding all the tapes that they couldn't get back unrewound. So,
Yeah, with a pen.
yeah.
Big fat marker.
They'll soon be done.
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, Raised by Wolves. I went in this because I heard your review. Because I was sat here when you said it.
Yes.
And I was like, I won't visit that just yet. And then I decided it and sat down and I was gripped. I thought it was really bloody good.
Right.
And there's some things in there that I'm just like, oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
Like necromancers. They're cool.
Don't. Yeah.
I'm just
They don't
saying that.
fuck
I'm
about
just saying
either.
necromancers.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm surprised that I think that's cool. That's if people think that's cheesy, then I can totally understand. But I think it's cool. And I've been on the internet just trying to dive in to find out as much as I can about the rest of it. Kind of spoiling myself, but screw it. There's no one on Twitter to spoil it for me. I'm really disappointed. So I thought I'd spoil it for myself instead.
Elton,
And yes,
there is a comic book online, sort of like a preview of what the events before it takes place. It explains a little bit more about that certain character you mentioned.
Ah, okay. So is this from a comic book?
No.
But that comic book is based on this then?
I think it's based on a novel, and you can see it with some of the way that it's done. It's very old. The costumes and stuff like this, it looks like they were designed in the 50s. So,
Well, that's just Ridley Scott, though. He loves a bit of the old Mobius retro look. Everyone's in a onesie. I mean, God's sakes, stop it, Ridley. Give it a rest. But anyway,
got milk, blood.
Yeah. Worms, milky bloods. I think you're on a Ridley Scott vibe.
Yeah. I'm seeing past that a little bit, and as soon as you see Ridley Scott and space and aliens and going to like a different planet and stuff like that, then you're like, okay, you kind of know what you're going to get anyway, don't you?
Well, yeah, up to a point.
So
up to a point.
I'm just
I enjoyed this
it.
a lot more than Covenant and stuff.
Wow.
Oh yes, so much.
That's not hard though. Let's be honest.
No, low bar. I know.
No, Verucas are more enjoyable than Covenant.
Yeah, I had a particularly acidic piss once because I drank too much orange juice, and that was more enjoyable than Covenant.
You blow, I'll do the fingering.
Yeah. Are we still talking about Covenant?
No, I'm just explaining to Elton what he's going to do after he's kissed the burnt part. But anyway,
nobody heard
earlier. No, nobody heard that.
Was
joke from earlier.
that was green room talk.
That was yes.
Anyway,
yes. So I'm awaiting the rest of the season with bated breath.
Yes.
I will stay outside Blockbusters. I might keep visiting there and see if that turns up.
You never know. It might just turn up. I couldn't possibly say how.
Okay.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. So, is that all, sir?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just really enjoying a program that I shouldn't really be seeing. There you go.
Well, it's because you had access to screeners, my friend.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
distributors came round my house and
You're on a BAFTA list, mate. That's all you need to know. Anyway, so moving swiftly on before we really stray into dodgy legal waters. Darren, how's your week, sir?
Oh well, if I hadn't have had enough anxiety from last week doing the hair bleaching, I attempted part 2, and I'm glad to say
The proper hair bleaching now.
No, this is like the second part of it where you try and, you cover the bits you missed and whatever. And I'm glad to say that Ree's hair is looking absolutely brilliant now. It's really good.
If only it was still on her head.
Exactly. It's in a bag behind the chair. But no, she's now gone blonde. So it's waiting to add the whatever colour she wants to put on there next. So we're leaving it for a little while and then she'll have a go at that. So, yes, success there.
do you have any skin left on your hands?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I wore gloves while doing it. I'm not that bloody silly, trust me. Although I shouldn't have worn one of my favourite T-shirts while I was doing this because, well, there's just like bits of that T-shirt missing now. Or should I say the colour and the pattern on it. Yeah, because it got some bleach onto it. So, yeah.
I've got to be honest though. I don't see why you've had so much anxiety with all this hair colouring. I mean, you've been going through like pots of Grecian 2000 since you were about 15.
Oh, you're so funny. You're so
I would have thought you'd been good at this by now. Cover the grey and that hairspray, that aerosol that you used to cover the patchy bits on your head.
Yeah, that's colouring. That's not bleaching. Okay.
And the hair looming.
Yeah, and the hair movement, yes.
Just nailing a bit of carpet to your head.
That's right. Fucking ba-chunk, ba-chunk, ba-chunk. Could you get that bit at the back there, love? There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Proper coconut mat.
Oh, I tell you, man, I do a fucking bomb in Staples. I really do. Fucking what's his name? Ryman's. I'll tell you what, they know me by name now. I walk in, usual Mr. Barnard.
Yeah. I'll just have that. I'll just have that floor mat, that car floor mat. you want it with a Ford badge on your forehead?
You know what? I'm going to up the ante a bit. I think I'll have the 6mm rather than the 5. Go on, let's push the boat out.
Ooh, shag pile.
Yeah, don't worry. No matter where I do it on my head, I'm missing a vital organ. So, don't worry. It's fine. But there you go. So, yeah, so there we go. That was a success. So, and I'm never going to do that again. I'm not putting myself through that anymore. No way.
That's what she said.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Now, going back a little way to, the whole thing about the COVID and spreading, and you wouldn't think there was a lockdown on and stuff. Just a public announcement. I don't expect anybody that listens to us to have a lack of common sense where masks are concerned.
They listen to us.
Okay, they do. Right. Okay. Look. Okay. Just to let you know, if you're not going to cover your nose and you're only going to cover your mouth, right? Don't fucking bother wearing a mask. Okay? Just don't do it. All right? Because your nose isn't magic. Okay? It doesn't remove the virus. So when you're breathing it out, it's the same air that would come out your fucking mouth. Okay? Put it over your fucking nose as well as your mouth. Okay? That's my public service fucking announcement. All right? They don't work unless you cover both orifices on your fucking face.
I'm glad you specified face there.
Yeah. And I don't mean your fucking ears either. And don't wear it under your chin. Your beard doesn't need to be protected from COVID. Okay? There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it's just going in on the train into London. I had to do overtime and I went in. And it's just the amount of people that they're supposed to wear a mask all the time when they're on a train. And they pull them down, wear them under their chin. Some people don't even fucking bother.
No.
I mean, I know some people who said they've got conditions where they can't wear these masks, and that's fine. But if you've got no fucking excuse, right, then you're just a bit of a cunt if you don't wear one. Even if we get it wrong, even if we're wrong about the mask, it doesn't matter. You're not a medical expert. You have to listen to medical experts. Okay, so just do what they say. If only because you're thinking about someone else and not just yourself. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's going to get. I think it's getting to the point where I think they're just going to Darwin it at this point. It's just going to be like, you know what? Okay, everyone, nobody wear a mask. Everyone sit outside and cough on each other. Whoever's still around, to remember to turn the lights out.
Yeah,
yeah.
Indeed. But sorry, that's just just seeing that. It's like, why are you not wearing a mask?
Mm-hmm.
If you have breathing difficulties, fair enough. No problem there. But if you don't, and you've got a mask, don't wear it around your chin. Put it over your fucking face.
Mm-hmm.
Preferably all your face so I can't see it. There you go.
Nice.
But anyway. Moving on from that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on from that. I did a bit of a time travel on the old TV front.
Yeah.
And ordered myself the Sapphire and Steel complete box set.
Oh.
Nice.
Yes, indeedy. And I sat there the other night and I watched. You see, because I thought this was one I couldn't remember from way back when I watched it when I was little, as to the format of the show. And it's I'm looking through. It's half an hour an episode. Okay, that's fine. I'll watch the first one. We'll see how that goes. And it's the one I do remember seeing. First of all, the first one I ever saw was, I think it's Assignment 2, where they go to the old railway station and they've got the ghostly soldier whistling, pack up your troubles.
All right.
That, right? So I'm watching the first one, and I've got to say, the heckles up on the back of the neck. I don't know what it is about the way they film it. There's something about that sort of ITV or BBC creepy horror that they used to show. Very, very effective even today.
Right.
But then it's only when it's subtle that it's really effective. When they go balls out
right
in the show and they start showing you the ghosts and stuff, they go a little bit over the top and it kind of takes away a bit of the impact.
Yeah.
When they're doing the creepy stuff, like you see a door slowly opening by itself and stuff like this, or it focuses on a door and you're like, oh, fuck, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's really well done, But,
I was going to say, I have to say, I always remembered being creeped out by it but I never remember what any of it was actually about. I honestly can't. It always just seemed to be a bit, I don't know. It just seemed like people just wandering about saying stuff that I didn't understand and then feeling slightly uneasy about it, and then they all went home.
Well, there is a rhyme and reason to it. They do kind of like, there's certain, because they don't explain the abilities that Sapphire and Steel have, and for most part of the, like, from the beginning, you know that Joanna Lumley's character, Sapphire, has got like psychic abilities. She can pick up on certain things, but for a while you don't know what Steel can do. And then he does something. He lowers his body temperature to absolute 0, and it's like, oh right, okay. Mostly that would kill people, but this is it. So. He can take on the properties of the metal he's named after. He can go down that low and still survive, and he can transfer that as well. But I mean, it's only the first 3 episodes of it. It's done in the same sort of format that Doctor Who used to be done in, where they'd have one story and they'd cut it into like 6 or 7 episodes. And I thought this was going to be one assignment per episode, but it's not. There's like 6 episodes for this first assignment. So I'm only halfway through the first story,
right?
So I'm going to watch the rest of it and see how they resolve it. So I'll let you know how I get on with that.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, very, very good.
Cool. And anything else?
No.
Nah.
No. Apart from rage quitting. What's it? Fucking Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, don't!
Fuck
You can
off.
do it. Have you? Oh, let me guess. Have you met Second Sister then, by any chance?
No, she's not a problem, right? It's the old geezer that's on the planet with her. Him. No matter what I do, right? No matter what tactics I use, suddenly I'm down to half health from one strike or something. It's like, what the hell? I'm blocking him. I'm trying. It's like, okay, I'm putting the block on now. 3, 2, 1. Oh, my block wasn't quick enough, apparently, even though I did it 3 seconds ago.
No, it's not about blocking with him. It's about parrying.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that, but it doesn't matter what I do. He apparently he's quicker no matter what. He knows when I push the button. That's the thing. I'm starting to think there's somebody watching me through the window.
He's a fucking Jedi. What do you expect?
Well, I think this is a live game. Somebody's controlling it from like, hey, push the shoulder button. Now, quick, get in there.
Yeah, ready and go.
Yeah. So I sat there this morning because I'm on holiday at the moment anyway. I'm not actually at work. But I sat there trying to do it, and then I went, no, fuck this shit. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And I just went, uninstall. And that's it.
Aww.
Oh, and then, the other one I tried was Anthem.
Oh, God, you
Right.
fool.
No, well, this is free, you see. This was on,
Fucking ought to be.
Game Pass. And I played it, and I played the first little bit. I thought, all right, well, this seems like pretty straightforward. Configured the suit of armour to look like Iron Man, because that's what you do when you've got your robot suit. And
Your
then
javelin.
your javelin. Euphemism. Jim, come on, man. What do we pay you for? You're supposed to jump in there. So, I finished the first setup mission, and it's like, all right, well, this seems pretty straightforward. Let's give it a go. And then they drop me into multiplayer, and it's like, I beg your fucking pardon. And that was when I went, no. They're all standing around me, the people that I've matchmaked with. Right? They've got me in their game, and I just went back, uninstall. And I'm just imagining it's like, where's the fourth one? They're still there today. They're still there now, I reckon, waiting for me to come back. Oh, I'm sure he's got lag. We can't do this mission with only 3 of us.
Yeah. No, they... Yeah, well, you would have been in for a world of hurt, basically, because if you didn't even know the maps, they go running off, and if they get too far ahead, you just sort of warp towards them. So if you decide to explore anywhere, then you're just always being rubber banded back to where they are. It's just...
Nah, fuck that shit. If I want to do that, I'll deliberately go online, but I didn't appreciate that at all.
No.
Like, nope, do not. What is this need to make everything fucking multiplayer?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why can't you just use your imagination and write a story that actually involves, you know, a single player like they used to back in the day?
Because it's easier to get people in the same room to make up their own story.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the laziest form of television, reality TV. You know, that's it.
Yep, that's it. But it's you know, without it, is there any other way of getting you to buy a load of shit? That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's just a way of getting you to buy a load of shit.
Yeah, like, we've got, you know, you can have this paint job. You can have this, like, you can have the one you start with, which is a dirty yellow, and we've also got this one called Dirty Protest, which you can have as well. Or you can buy like, you know, normal colours like blue and green and stuff from the store. So so it's either Dirty Yellow or Dirty Protest.
Yep.
So I'll wait for Dirty Protest.
It's about right.
Actually, when I uninstalled it, I took it one step further and shit in an envelope, and I've sent that to EA. So that's my Dirty Protest. Here's my review of Anthem.
Thanks. Yeah.
Cheers for that.
Cheers.
Yeah, but don't forget to open it with friends of yours, because you shouldn't open it singularly. Because it's not that exciting. Get your friends round. Yeah, have them join in. And then the envelope unlocks, and you're able to see what's inside.
Oh, fuck off!
Oh man, I just feel as though I've just been a bit angry today. Yeah.
There's a change.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry,
that's all right.
I'll go and sit in a corner now and just calm the fuck down.
No, it's all cool. Cool. Okay. Well, my week is pretty quick actually. I finished The Boys, or at least the first season of it now. And I'm very much looking forward to ploughing through the second season once I get some time to do so.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I also completely up to date with The Mandalorian now.
Excellent.
Which I still maintain, even though it's quite fun, is still being written by a bunch of kids with some Palatoy action figures, and then the director's just sitting there and just transcribing what they do.
Oh, it's like Axe Cop.
It is like Axe Cop, because there's so much stuff where it's just like, and then two X-Wings come out and save them sort of moment, and it's just like, really?
Have you done season 2 then? You're completely up to date, yeah?
I'm completely up to date.
Right. Oh, with Baby Yoda, who I now refer to as Baby Shithead.
What? eating the eggs?
Yeah, eating the eggs, just fucking everything up. It's like, oh no, man, put him in a. I know this is Star Wars, but look, just go through to the Star Trek universe, get hold of one of those photon torpedoes, and stick the fucking thing in there. It will be less trouble, trust me. And say, I'll tell you what, until you learn to fully use the Force, fuck off and don't come back. Right? There you go. Because apparently you could use the Force last season, but yeah.
Because reasons, but anyway, I that bit doesn't bother me nearly as much as, like I say, it just seems to be. Also, the episodes are getting shorter. So, like the first season, the episode was like 50 minutes long, and then by now, and in the start of season 2, they were like 45 minutes long. Then the second episode was like 40 minutes long, and then the third episode was like 35 minutes long. If it carries on like this, all you're going to do is get a recap for what happened last week and then the credits for like episode 5 or episode 10. I can see why people like it. It's certainly a lot better than most Star Wars output, but I don't get the complete effusive love for it. Because like I say, too often in all of this, it just suddenly goes, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then they all went to bed, and they were happy, and they had some tea. It was just, it always happens. It's like one episode, he crashes in a hole, escaping from X-Wings. Next thing you know, when it's all going to shit, here comes the X-Wings. It's just like, how, why, what, and lots of stuff like that just seems to always happen. That something's gone horribly wrong. How's he going to get out of it? Oh, and something else turns up and saves him randomly out of the blue. every time. It's just a bit. It's a bit childish.
It's a bit like the A-Team, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I know the childish thing is, it's always made for kids, but it's just like, well, if that's the case, fine, but it's not, is it? Let's be honest. Otherwise, they wouldn't be dropping hints and nods to Star Wars Episode fucking 4 and nods of, bits to Rebels and Clone Wars and talks about bounties and double crossing and all this kind of stuff.
I've got an idea, I've got a little idea where this sort of thing is concerned, right? Disney's gone, oh fucking hell, we binned all those Star Wars EU books, didn't we? Fuck. Well, I tell you what, if we start introducing it slowly, maybe nobody will notice. just pull them out the bin. Just take little bits. Right, there you go. Put that character in there. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. Yeah. How about? I'll tell you what. Look, in one episode, how about we use the troop carrier that they made a toy of about 40 years ago, and have that in there. Put that in there as well in one episode.
Well,
sell the toy again.
Well, I tell you what. The first episode of season 2. They did an half spaff their wad on one of the characters. One of the, hey, look at that. Hey, look. Hey, look.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, give me a freaking break. And, and
I've seen the videos for all of the, the significance of a character from episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's just... And when we're talking about episode 1, we're not talking about Phantom Menace. We're talking about episode 1 of season 2. Yeah. But it's just like, I mean, it's fair enough. It's throwaway. It's disposable. It's fun. That's fair enough, and that's all it needs to be. But it's just I just come away thinking everyone's kind of going, wow, the Mandalorian's the greatest thing ever. And then what happens is everyone's actually going, I love Baby Yoda. I want a plushie. Oh, and there's also some guy who beats things up. And that's about it. It's fine, I'll watch it. I'll carry on watching it, but I'm not like, oh, it's great. Star Wars is back, because I think Star Wars is dead. But that's just me. What else? I've started my art commission. Someone's commissioned me to do a 1.5 meter canvas of an image. Of a paint, do a painting for a 1.5 meter canvas, which is quite nice, but it's going to take me a fucking age because I'm doing it on Photoshop like I normally do, my digital painting. I don't know if anyone knows resolutions, but a 1.5 meter canvas for print is about 18,000 pixels wide by about 6,000 pixels high.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah. So it is a bit on the heavy side, and my old computer gets about stressed quite quickly. What else? Just trying to think what else. Family's been watching a lot of House. House continues to dominate the watching schedules, to the point now we've only been watching it for about 2 weeks, and we're up to like season 4. So I can tell you all about lumbar punctures, broad spectrum antibiotics, MRI scans, CTs, doing scientific differentials, diagnostic differentials. I gotta tell you the fucking lot. I'm gonna graduate from medical school by the end of this fucking watch. And lastly, I started playing tonight Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it's fucking great.
Yeah.
I love it. So much so that we almost missed this podcast because of it, because I idiotically started playing at like 7:30, and then it was like, then I looked up at the clock and it's like 5 to 9. I'm like, oh fuck. So it's if you've played the original Spider-Man game on the PS4, there's no difference really. But the story and the setting is smaller. In terms of you're not fighting massive enemies, and you're not sort of going up against the big guys, as far as I can tell so far. And you've got this like phone app in the game, and people can just call you up and ask for things. And so there's things like, oh, I've lost my car, or, you know, I'd like to take a selfie with you. Because essentially what the story's about is Miles Morales is left in charge of being Spider-Man while Peter Parker is away in Europe. And essentially, he's got no confidence. Miles has got no confidence. He's been running with Spider-Man, and New York knows he's a different Spider-Man. So you land, and he goes, "Hi, how can I help?" And they kind of go, "We were kind of hoping for the other guy to turn up." And so the whole game is kind of focused around you, sort of starting from Harlem and working out from New York, but also across New York, but also trying to earn the trust of everyone because they know you aren't him. They know you aren't Peter Parker.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah,
then?
sure.
Because the whole reason that one of the things that starts off the whole Miles Morales sort of saga is the fact that Spider-Man pops his clogs. You know,
that's in the Ultimates universe, and that is in Into the Spider-Verse. That's not in this. This Insomniac universe isn't like tied in with the MCU.
Right, okay, got you.
Essentially, the Insomniac universe, which is the company that made it, have got Peter Parker, because something major happens in the original Spider-Man game, which I can't spoil just in case anyone plays it. But it goes off in a completely different tangent. It's almost a completely different universe in many ways, because it's Spider-Man has been established for so many years, and he's actually working for his for a research professor called Professor Octavius.
Right.
So that's kind of how it starts in the first game. So you already know you're on a completely different setup almost straight away. So Miles Morales is actually the son of one of the local policemen, and the policeman sort of dies in the original game. And by the end of the game, you get hints that Miles has got some kind of powers, but you don't quite know what. And in this game, you know he's been training with Peter for like about a year or something. So it's a couple of months because they're taking everyone back. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, but it's good. It's really good fun, and Miles, the way he acts and some of his powers are really cool. And you also get a cat called Spider-Man, which sits in your backpack with a little Spider-Man hat on, which is really cute. If you like that sort of thing,
A cat.
Right.
a cat. Yes, you save a cat from a deli, which has been robbed, and then the cat becomes like a sort of backpack helper, to say the least. You don't have to have him. But he can kind of sneak into little places and do little things that you can't, and it's quite cute.
Okay, that's like the old Metal Gear Solid thing where they had little robot that you could drive around.
Yeah,
Right.
very much.
Do you get to control the cat?
Yeah, no. You kind of say, go in here, and then the cat kind of goes in places. And then...
Okay.
So if you ever need to shit in someone's shoe, you're covered.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to shit in someone's shoe or ruin someone's curtains, you're well sorted. So, but yeah, I've only got all of this from playing for like I say, an hour and a half. But if you've played the original Spider-Man game, this one is like just slipping on the pair of shoes. I was like jumping into the sort of all the extra challenges and all the extra bits like straight away without any pause. And I was like, oh yeah, and the game's going, do you want to look at the tutorial? I'm like, fuck off. I'm carry on. Like, but wouldn't you like to learn how to swing? Fuck off. I'm pulling all these stunts. I'm jumping through fucking water towers. Piss off. Talk to someone who's a noob. I am away. So that's it really. We've got some feedback for last week's episode, and we watched Mindhorn last week, and I think the general consensus was that it waved between Darren and Jim really liking it, me being fairly ambivalent, and Elton not liking it at all.
No, not one bit.
Not one bit. There you go. So we had some feedback, and the first one was from Jeffrey Mark Heineman, who said, I wanted to like Mindhorn more than I did. The premise is great, and I'm a fan of Gillian Barrett, so it was a real ah moment when you're discussing the flat direction and timing issues. It was nice to see some of the references illuminated, especially the explanation of why it was set on the Isle of Man. Okay, while Peter Organ, Reverend Org, who does the broadcast, he said, I have more of a gas with this every time I come back to it. I can see your point about the direction being lackluster, but the Thorncroft is such a grotesque parody of certain actors of their era, and it's the reason I keep coming back to it. While Martin Thompson said, I liked it more on a rewatch. As Jim was saying, parochial British humour is something that tickles me. So as soon as we have that best plainclothes detective on the Isle of Man, then that's what gets me. Once Melly gets arrested, the film does fall a bit flat, but I find the finale where Thorncroft is blundering about in his exaggerated costume a bit silly. It ends a bit sudden, and I don't know how or why Melly survives. Julian Barrett is excellent though, and he carries the film, but as Darren rightly said, he's basically playing Howard Moon. Howard Moon being, for our international audience, a character from Julian Barrett's comedy series, The Mighty Boosh.
Yep.
So that's the old feedback there. Well, yes. So bit of a mixed bag. I was looking for the other stuff to do with our film, but I can't find it right now, so I'm going to work on that. Right. I shall call it there. We shall say thank you for everyone for feedback, and if anyone listens to this episode and wants to send in more feedback, either about Mindhorn or what we're about to talk about, which is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, then do send it in to our email, which is feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or on Twitter, because you know what? I'm actually starting to use Twitter again. Very, very slightly. And that's at Black Dog Podcast. Or go onto our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/Black Dog Podcast, and leave a comment under the last episode. Right. Let's move on now. Obviously, Sean Connery, he passed away, and we could have done a Bond, but everyone's doing Bond. So we went for a different film. Darren's pick, which I love. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's roll the jingle for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
You asked for it. You've begged for it. And now it's here. The album of the century. Sean Connery's greatest hits.
Sitting on the dock of the bay, watching my hair falling away. Wait, that's a bald joke.
Yes, the acting legend's personal favorite, sung straight from the, heart.
Hot child in the shitty. You're running wild and looking pretty. Oh, hello.
Sean Connery. If you like his movies, you'll love his singing.
I want to wake up in the shitty that doesn't sleep. Wake up, you bastard!
Sean Connery's greatest hits. The sexy Scot at his very best.
Hello, Sean Connery here. Don't just shit there. Order my greatest shits. Hot in the shitty. Hot in the shitty tonight. Open the goddamn window already.
Sean Connery's greatest hits. From Haggis Records. Available now.
So, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Fire up your bad Sean Connery impressions now, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a bumpy ride. It is a 1989 American action-adventure film directed by Steven Spielberg with a story co-written by George Lucas and who's the other guy? It's Jeffrey Boehm. Menio Meyes. God almighty, I can't pronounce that. Meyes, Meyjes, Meyes.
If in doubt, just slur it.
Yes, Menno Menez. Anyway, Harrison Ford returns to the title role while his father is portrayed by Sean Connery. Yes. Other cast members include Alison Doody, Denham Elliott, Julian Glover, River Phoenix, and John Rhys Davis in a film that's set largely in 1938. Indiana Jones searches for his father, a Holy Grail scholar that has been kidnapped by Nazis. The film, I'll tell you this, it had a budget of $48 million back in 1989. And I'll give you this clue. It went on to be the biggest film of the 80s. It earned the most amount of money of any film in the 80s.
Wow.
So, how much did it make? Jim?
800 million.
Oh, blimey. Okay, yep, okay, 800 million.
Oh, we're going serious now, aren't we?
Oh, are we? I don't know. Is it one holy grail? Is it a penitent man or a leap of faith?
Cross of Cortana box set.
Yes, it belongs in a
Matching
museum.
tie-pin and blazer badge.
Jadot's nappy.
Oh, jeez. Can I say 750 million?
Yeah, go for it. Okay. Darren, what do you think?
Oh, I think it was 200 million crystal skulls.
So about £1.50.
I think so. Yeah, it was not very successful. No, no. I think we're talking 200 million. I think it made at the box office, even back then.
Well, I think you're the closest. It was $474 million. So it made 10 times its money back. But as I said, every other film in the 80s, even with adjusted inflation, did not make as much as Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So there you go. I didn't realise that until I went looking it up this afternoon. So, yeah, there you go. Fact fans, don't say you don't learn anything. So, let's just go around the table very quickly. We've rewatched it for the first time in God knows how long. Maybe tell us how long it's been since you last watched it and what you thought about it. Jim?
I think the last time I watched this was for when we covered it last on Black Dog.
Yeah, about 9 years ago.
Yeah. I've seen bits of it on telly, but actually sitting down watching the full thing was the first time, so that's quite a while. But it's one of those movies I'm trying not to wear it out. As there's only 2 Indiana Jones films, so you have to eke them out, really.
Yeah, a trilogy in 2 parts.
Yes. But I really enjoyed it. It was very, very welcome to go back to it and see it again in pinch-up croaky vision. I still have some issues with it that I've always had with it, but they're not deal breakers.
That's fair enough.
Still a very, very fun film and deserving of its success, I'd say.
Cool. And what about you, Elton?
Well, this is one of my firm favourites throughout my whole life. And I'm sure it will be until the day I die. Because it just has that feeling to it. I'm so comfortable in this world. I love Raiders. I haven't seen Temple of Doom for a long, long time, so I have to revisit that but I think it's more the Indiana Jones character and the way that Harrison Ford plays it. I just feel so comfortable, and I'll just watch him in anything. I really would. It's just, I don't care. I feel like I'm in safe hands already. I think the last time I watched this all the way through, do you know what? I don't know. It's because I didn't review it on here.
No, this was a couple of years before you joined us. That's
right. So I would say even further back than that. Actually sat down like you, Jim. I've seen bits on TV, and when I've caught it, I'm like, okay, I'll just put the button down and just watch the rest of it. It's just too easy. Instead of flicking, you're like, I found something comfy and warm, and it's just too easy not to flick anymore. But yeah, I flipping adore this. I know it has little issues. I don't care. I really don't care. Just walk away with your issues. You know, if I'm going to bring some up, and they are few and far between, and it really doesn't matter. But I don't care. I love this film, and I can't praise it highly enough.
Cool. Okay then. And what about you, Dal?
Yeah, I still really, really enjoy this.
Mhm.
Like everyone said, there are one or two issues, but apart from that, it's a good, fun film. It's not taking itself seriously at all. It's doing it all for laughs. It's written like they know they've established this character, and they can just get on with it and get to the point.
Yeah.
And it's that. Yeah, it's got generally a good heart. This film, I think, personally.
Cool. When was the last time you watched it?
Again, the last time we reviewed it, I
Okay, fair enough.
think I can't remember. I might have called it on TV in between then, but the last I remember watching it is when we reviewed it last.
Nice. Fair enough. Cool. In which case, for me, well, I mean, I showed my hand really early on this in this podcast. I adore this film. I think it's one of my. I think I know. Everyone kind of has like top 5 films, and they kind of come and go, and they shift around, and some are at the front, and some are at the back, and some disappear and come back, and all this sort of thing. This one, I think, is always solidly in there, and I don't like Jim. I think I don't want to ever wear it out, but I adore this movie so much because I just think the stuff with Ford and Connery is just the beautiful little icing on the cake of what is essentially a big romping adventure that is essentially Raiders of the Lost Ark 2.0. Watching it again yesterday, I'll be honest with you, we're talking about how this podcast is chronicling our decrepitude. Yesterday, I sat on the sofa with a cup of tea, some ginger biscuits, and a fucking blanket over my knees. And I sat there and I watched it and giggled to myself like a fucking schoolboy for 2 hours solid. I love this film so much, and I don't think you're going to get a lot of, shall we say, objective criticism. I mean, I can see there are problems. I can see there are things wrong with it. But to echo Elton's statement, I don't care. There's so much goodwill built up from the film that the flaws don't even register for me. And I think that's the difference between a good film and a shit film, where a flaw that you might notice in this and you just go, yeah, it's fine, whatever. You'd see it in a crap film and you go, oh, for fuck's sake. And so, yeah, I think this is an outstanding movie, and probably one of my top 5 of all time, without a doubt. Yeah, so there you go. And yeah, okay, let's get into it. Let's just get into it. I was going to say, so let's start off with Connery himself. What do you think of him in this film? Is he because for me he's the glue that binds it all together. He's actually, without him, I think the film would fail if it was anyone else. And how do you feel about him, guys? We'll jump in.
Well, I think how you quote lines from this film, and the ones that I remember mostly are from him. I only remember there's only one line from Indy himself that sticks in my head in this film, and that's "no ticket." That bit, right? Just that bit when he just stops and looks at everyone. No ticket. So, yeah, everything else. I remember my Charlemagne, that sort of thing. It's it's all Connery stuff. He gets all the best lines in it. I think personally.
Yeah.
So yeah. Very good.
So but if it was like, I mean, I don't know who they had in mind for it initially, but if it was someone else, would it have been? Would it have mattered?
I don't know. I think it's I mean, 'cause there are a good few older actors out there that probably could have done this part well. You know, I think what we got was a solid performance from Connery. He looked very comfortable in the role. You know, it's nice to see him playing this sort of character rather than like you know giving it the old two-fisted fucking punching treatment. He's the complete, you know, his methods of doing things are the complete opposite of his son's. You know, when he goes on about, you wouldn't have liked it down there, Dad. There were rats. What?
Rash. Yeah, lots of rats.
I can't believe what you did.
Look what you did. Look what you did. Yeah. What about you guys? Anyone else got a thought on Connery per se?
I don't think it would work with anybody else because Connery has built into him that kind of movie heritage. And I think part of the fun in this movie is that meta-knowledge of that you're seeing two different generations of action heroes meet up.
Yeah.
And because there's a lot of the Bond formula in the Indiana Jones mix. And partly that's the influence of the Bond on the action genre. Partly it's drawing on they're both drawing the same action DNA of what went before.
Yeah.
But what makes it especially fun isn't that kind of unofficial team up, but it's the fact that Connery is playing against type.
Yeah.
And that's what's just such a delight. Because there's not many films where Connery actually got to play light and comedic. And he's having such fun. It's so infectious. And as Darren said, he has so many good lines.
Yeah.
And his comic timing. I mean, the scene with the "Did you bring the book?"
Yeah.
And the payoff of, "I should have mailed it to the Marx Brothers."
Yeah. You didn't bring it, did you? You did. Yeah, it is all in the eyes. He's got fantastic eye acting in this. There's a lot of moments where he does this kind of furtive looks when he does the whole thing with she talks in her sleep, and then you sort of like Ford just glances at him and he does this kind of look at him with a sort of cheeky grin, and then he looks away and it's as if he's thinking about it, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, and then he looks back and gives him another grin. He's just like, oh, I love it.
That bit in the plane as well. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They shot us.
Sorry, Sean, they've got us. Anyway, Elton, what about you?
Yeah, I think it is in like the little looks. I was watching him acutely this time round, just because of what's happened.
Yeah,
and because it's the first time seeing this since he's passed as well. It's just like, oh, you're one of my favourites in this. This kind of highlights how good it was, and I enjoyed the chemistry between the two Joneses. That's what I enjoy the most about it, because I think it's more energetic when they're both on screen at the same time or bouncing off of each other. I think it works so much better when they're interacting. It really does kick up a gear once he crashes through that window and gets smashed over the head by that fake mink vase. But it is the tiny little looks. You can see how much Connery is enjoying it, and there's like that motorbike scene where he's in the sidecar. He's like waving all over the place, nearly loses his briefcase, etc. And there's that moment where you know he's had fun, and as a father he's had fun, and he's sat next to his son having fun. But yet there's still time for seriousness, and pulling out his pocket watch and just looking disdainfully at his son going, yes, I'm just going to wind up my pocket watch. And there's a few moments like that where he is a father in it, and it is that father-son thing that carries all the way through. You get your heartstrings tugged when he thinks he's lost his son. And then he stood next to him, and it's just... I thought I lost you, boy. and it's like, oh, that's so touching.
Yeah.
And then it drops, doesn't it? It's like that. It lasts for like about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What are you doing lying there? Well, it was so close to the end.
But yeah, I think he is absolutely fantastic. I couldn't name someone else. If the stars had been aligned differently, we would have got someone else, and we would be saying exactly the same thing about that person, possibly. But this is just a perfect fit, isn't it? There's no other person I can think of that would fit in that role. The thing with the Indiana Jones thing is that they've done the kid thing, and it didn't quite work.
Yeah.
And the only other way, and the only other way to do it is go the farther way, and you've got someone iconic. Even in 1989, he was iconic. Stood there in that role. You know he's not going to shit it up, and it's only going to bring the A game to this film even more. You know this is going to be an A++ film, and then you stick Sean Connery in as Indiana Jones's dad. You can't lose. It can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, do you think this film's going to lose that kind of impact and that kind of pop culture reference when you get further and further away from it? Because, you know, we all essentially grew up knowing him as, you know, Connery as Bond and as, you know, all these sort of manly men, and he had that sort of Renaissance Jerry action thing with sort of like The Rock and Hunt for Red October and all these kind of things, and Highlander. Do you think that impact of suddenly seeing him in Last Crusade is all because, you know, it's got that extra soups on for us because we're sort of sitting there going, oh, look, it's fucking James Bond, but he's got a frumpy hat on and he doesn't know how to fight and all this kind of thing. Do you think as the years go on, that kind of little extra element on this film is going to mellow? Do you think?
What, for the people that already know it?
For new audiences.
Oh, well, actually, I can probably comment on that. Right. Ree had never watched this before. She's a Sean Connery fan, but she's never watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. She was umming and ahhing about it. She's like, oh, you chose this. Any Sean Connery film you could have chosen, you chose this one. Why you choose this? Like, no, we need to go with this one. She sat and watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it last night. She was like really pleased that she'd taken a chance.
Well, that's handy because I would have demanded you leave the house immediately if the result was different. Get out of that woman's house now and be gone. Yeah.
But no, see, so even somebody who hadn't seen it, wasn't there when it first came out, watches it now, and just really enjoys it.
Jim, you sounded like you were going to say something. I was just.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of, I think, for a younger generation, I think if you get into Bond, you go all the way. If you know what I mean, because it's been such a continuous thing. I don't think there's the same sort of split in Bond fandom there is, say, in Star Trek, where are you next gen or are you original Trek? I don't think Bond fandom works like that. So if you know Bond, you'll know Connery. And he'll always have that cachet. I mean, for general younger people, they won't know who he is, but then they won't know who Harrison Ford is.
Well, that's a sad indictment of the world, isn't it?
Well, it's the end of the world. Fuck them, They're all out there not wearing masks. Fuck you. See who's laughing now? Be me, won't it? Yeah. I'm the only cunt in lockdown when you lot are all out drinking with your mates, drinking your Wicked and playing your Fortnite. Enjoy long COVID, cunts. You millennial twats.
Oh, God.
But you know what I mean? I think you can't worry about that kind of thing because inevitably there will be a younger generation who's this old twat? I don't know who he is. What's this mean? But you don't make a film thinking, in 50 years' time, do I have to pander some avocado-eating twonk? No, you don't.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. And that I think is the final word. We just dropped the mic and we're off.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit.
Talking about that though, because the younger generation getting into Indiana Jones, they're going to hear of Indiana Jones because it is kind of a staple in movies. They are movies that you kind of have to see because they are family orientated. The younger generation may have caught glimpses of it because our generation have watched it in the room with them, going, "Go on, watch this with me. Go on," and that might entice them into it. And I think watching this movie, you're just on a win-win situation because how can you not enjoy their performance in this?
Yeah.
Even just from a cinematic point of view, it's just engaging. It's a father and son trip, isn't it? It's father and son sitting down to watch the movie while you watch a father and son on TV. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? I guess it's the main theme of the entire film is that whole thing of, you know, when does obsession matter, and when it breaks up families, how do you reconnect? It's all about that. It's about two people who are obsessed in their own ways, because you get to see Indy at the beginning following the Cross of Coronado and becoming obsessed with that. And to the point where it almost gets him killed on the boat. And then you've got the sort of similar obsession with his dad, getting him tied up with the Nazis, going after the Grail, and how that pushes, obsession pushes people apart, and then they have to, basically find mutual respect. And that's the thing. That's quite a powerful thing. Fathers and sons, and mothers and daughters, mutual respect thing is quite a powerful sort of motivator. I like, which works really well. But yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I don't know about Connery's legacy in this making that much difference to how the performance goes, but it was just one of those things. I was just thinking, because as Jim rightly says, you got Connery playing against type. You're expecting him to suddenly start punching people, and next thing you know, he's sort of sitting there looking at the cross sections on a broken vase and going, it breaks the heart. It's sorry, I'm not apologising for these fucking Connery impressions at all. If anybody doesn't like them, they can stick it right up their arse and stop listening. Because I love this. What I was going to say was, speaking of the comedy, we know the comedy works really well with the interplay between Connery and Ford. But how do you feel about like the Denham Elliott character, who
loved him?
Because if I was to ever raise a point against it, it would be that his character kind of walks a really weird line between being actually hilarious and then being overly comic. Does that make sense? There's points where you look at it and you go, yeah, the director's making him mug for the camera. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think this trip out is a bit more comedy orientated, isn't it? Look at Raiders, and there might be little gags there thrown in, but they're there to like lighten the mood. Whereas the mood is comedy here. It is action. It is a romp type thing, and they're already up and running with the Indy franchise. So you already go into this expecting there to be hoots and laughs, and to deny people that would be, I think, going against the grain a little bit. And you want something a bit more fun and light and popcorny. And with Denham Elliott, there are moments where is it with Salah when he gets chucked into the back of that van, and he's walking around. It is very Three Stooges-esque, and there was one moment where I was like, "That's not great," but it just about worked. I think they tried to do it later on with John Hurt in the film that you guys have never seen. And
oh, really? Is he in that?
Yeah, unfortunately he is, yes.
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't pay off with John Hurt at all. It doesn't work whatsoever. So, but I think he carries it just enough, and he's also got that relationship with Henry as well. So that kind of works. So you have, instead of just one person and Indy being the fulcrum for everything, they're all kind of interconnected. So that works as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only reason I was saying it is because he has some of the actually some of the funniest lines, because I didn't realise, because I was on Twitter sort of saying that we're going to watch this, going to watch this film. And a couple of randos out of nowhere just sort of appeared and sort of said a few things. But one of the things that got brought up was like some of the lines that he comes out with just in that scene where he's got off the train. So when they do the big gag, which is Marcus will blend in, disappear. He's got 2 days ahead of you. By now he's probably already got the Grail, and then it cuts to him in the market going, "Does anybody speak English or maybe ancient Greek?" Sort of thing. But there's in the middle of all of that babble before he meets Sulla, there's a whole heap of stuff he spouts out that you can't quite hear. And
watermelons.
Yeah, well, actually, someone offers him a glass of water. And he goes, no, it's okay, sir. He goes, glass of the guy goes, water, and he goes, no, thank you, sir. Fish make love in it, and stuff. and I didn't notice that at all last time I watched it. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake! Some really, really little throwaway lines. You're thinking that's comedy gold. There, it's just getting lost in the mix. But anyway, sorry, I was just another. And the other thing that I got noticed this time round, and again, thank you to the person who pointed it out on Twitter, whose name I can't remember because I'm not looking at Twitter right now, is the other gag that I missed, which is on the Zeppelin, and you got was it Henry's trying to disguise himself by not wearing his glasses and not wearing his hat, and he's sitting there reading his paper, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Well, if you take a look, he's actually reading the paper upside down because he hasn't got the glasses on. It's only this time around, so that's how Colonel Volk sees him, because he looks around and he sees the paper, and the paper's actually the headmast. The header's at the bottom of the fucking page. And because it's German and it's upside down, and Connery's not got his glasses on, which is why when the paper goes down and he goes, "Guten Tag, Herr Jones," it's actually, you see he can't see what's going on. He's squinting, and it's little things like that. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm still seeing things like 30 years on from watching this movie. I mean, did anyone else notice anything like that, or something they didn't realise this time round? Don't matter if you don't. I mean, it's just something that just came to mind. It was
yes, there was one thing I did notice this time round.
Go on.
When Indy goes into the library,
and
he's looking for 10, looking for 10, and then he climbs up the staircase and finds X marks the spot. Have you seen the shelves behind him?
No.
They are just spines of books painted onto a black background. And it's really, really, once you see it, it's really bad. You're like, oh, but you're in a fucking library. Just put some fucking books up there, man. But no, I don't know if it is an actual library, but they got books downstairs. Why can't they just cart some upstairs? But yeah, it's just like a really bad. It's like it is for a faraway shot. It's for, oh look, we'll just put that there. We don't need to see it. It's just for a background thing. No one will ever see it. And then Ford is stood in front of it. It's like, oh, that's really shit.
Ah, okay. Well, thanks for that. You've just ruined the film for me now. Cheers. I didn't know that. Oh, dear. Well, okay. Just change the subject slightly. I mean, obviously it's played for comedy, and that we've all agreed, is great and fine and lovely. How do we feel now with this more enlightened time, where we have to reevaluate everything the fact that we're back to comedy Nazis again. Does that make any difference to anyone?
No.
Comedy Nazis. I think it just suits the tone of the film. That sort of thing, It's the standard, the standard background Nazi for these films is always a little bit sort of, they're not portraying. That's the thing my granddad used to always have a problem with while watching films about the war. Him being in it. He goes, they always show the sort of like the Nazi soldiers as being stupid, and he goes, trust me, he said, they weren't like that at all. So yeah, I think for this it just goes with the comedy. It's not to be taken seriously. These films, they're not an accurate portrayal of history. They're just look, this thing happened in history and we're working around it, and we've made a fun little we've made a fun little film. Enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's based on the old black and white, serials they used to have in cinemas for people.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. That George Lucas and, his influence on that, I should imagine that's where it, it's that, him being obsessed with the Saturday morning serials. The
30s, the serials of the 30s and that sort of thing.
Exactly, and that's what this is. You look at it; it's got all the hallmarkings of it, and they do it very well in this.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is a shout back to that, and it's just fun. That's it. It's a romp, as you say. It's it's a road movie.
Yeah,
that's it. And a good road movie.
Yeah.
You can watch it and forget your troubles and just get on it, have a bit of a laugh, which we all need these days. Come on, let's face it.
Well, yes, definitely. That's that is it. That was the one thing I really, really did appreciate, was the fact that it's the first time for ages that I've watched something on telly, regardless of what it is, and actually enjoyed it. Does that... Yeah. Actually didn't feel like I was either being preached to, being made to feel bad, had to feel some sort of solemnity watching, or, it's just like, nah, fuck it. It's just a laugh. Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, that was superb, just to be able to just do that, because, you can't even watch a comedy show now on telly without like 15 cancer ads and 500 sort of like charity ads, because nobody's paying for advert space anymore. Yep. And so it's like, even the adverts have got people dying in them all the time. It's just like, oh, for God's sakes, just something. Just give me one moment of light.
Well-timed comedy as well. Who can forget the classic line? Well, they don't come any closer than that.
When the car disappears down the hole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's beautiful.
Our situation has not improved. Yeah. That is it. That is the one thing. Compared to, say, Mindhorn, which is unfair, I know that, to compare the two. But it is a perfect illustration of like that comedic timing thing that I was talking about before, of just like it's just like the idea that sort of like something will happen and they'll just cut it at exactly the right time to keep that comedy rolling. Yeah. So just a bit when they're in that rotating fireplace when the whole place is burning down.
Yeah,
and it's just that old fashioned gag of just watching it sort of undercranked just spin round like 2 or 3 times while the Nazis just watching them go round and round and round, and then the Nazi lady going alarm, which is obviously a callback to Das Boot. It's just
but
like
that works so well, because you have the comedy of it spinning, and they're caught between the rock and the hard place, and you think, as any good action movie does, it makes you think, well, how the hell do you get out of that? Well, how are they going to get out of this? How would I get out of this? And once you think, how would I get out of this? You're in the movie. That's it. You're there, and you're you're built into that. And then the way that they do get out of it is a comedic thing of them both jumping down the fireplace and then Sean Connery getting stuck on the wrong side of things, and his beautiful movement of, oh, I'll just go this way. Oh shit, that's gone, and now I'm facing the Nazis, and then there's fire. It's just beautiful. It works so well.
Yeah, it's proper slapstick moments because he goes down, his back is against the fireplace as it starts to turn, and then you see him turn as if he's trying to stop it, and it just goes round behind it, and just disappears. Yeah, it's
you know what, right? One of my favourite scenes in this. This goes to show you the physical comedy of it as well, right? It's a real surreal moment, but I love it, right? It's the bit where they're being chased by the plane, right? You got Indiana Jones and his dad in the car. They get chased by the plane and they go into the tunnel, right? And it's the bit where the wings come off the plane and it's just, you see the pilot, all three of them are just looking at one another as the plane just slides past them. It's that sort of, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but that comedy wouldn't work in Raiders, though, would it?
No. Well, the thing is, they set their stall out very early and set you up very early for this, because that's the thing in all three Indiana Jones films, because there are only three, and even that, you know, middle racist one with, you know, the Steven Spielberg bitter and divorce one sets the tone in the opening 5-10 minutes, and straight away you know what type of film it's going to be. So in like Raiders, it's very dark, very solemn, and then it gets to the sort of the actual, he gets rid of all of his guides and he starts looking for the idol. But you've got that sort of Alfred Molina character following him along, going, very dangerous, you go first, you know, sort of thing. Oh, sorry, throw me the whip, you know. And they've got, you know, and it's all a bit tense, but it's got a sort of humour to it as well. And that's basically Raiders. And then in Temple of Doom, it's just bonkers crazy, but then Indy is like close to death throughout the entire opening fucking dance number. And you're just like, oh, I don't know, I entirely like that. And it's just kind of bonkers fucking crazy, shrill, loud, and a bit sort of unnecessarily mean-spirited, and then that's the whole film all the way through. In this, you've got that lovely homage to, you know, River Phoenix doing probably the best Harrison Ford impersonation I've ever seen in my life. It's
phenomenal. It's a phenomenal match. It really is.
I mean, you know, it's one of those moments where you sort of think, oh yeah, it's just someone playing Indiana Jones, and then you get that moment where he nicks the cross and he just turns around and does that sort of little cocky smirk, and it's you know instantly that's Ford right there.
Yes, their mannerisms, his facial tics, everything. And I do like the way it shows you how Indy got the scar on his chin as well.
Yeah.
Like,
but it manages to do something it manages to do a prequel to a Harrison Ford character in less than like 15 minutes, whereas Star Wars took 2.5 hours and still fucked it up.
Well, they must have been sat there going, how can we flesh out this character even more? We've got everything on him. And the only way to do that is to show where he came from.
Yeah.
And it's such a perfect way of doing it. You know, Phoenix just rocks it, because even before he picks up the cross and gives you that little smirk, the way he's talking to his mate and telling him to go off and get all the horses, etc. It just sounds like him.
Yeah.
He's watched the other two movies and gone, right, okay, I need to be this guy, but younger. Okay, fine, I can just pick all this stuff up. And he does it. He just rocks it.
Yeah, it's even the bit when he just like he's trying to whisper at him and he just picks up the snake and he goes, "It's only a snake." You just think that's Ford. That's Ford right there. Yep. It's so good. But just to go back to my other point was that you, when it starts the big chase, the John Williams music is a lot more jaunty right from the off, and all the quotes and all the dialogue and everything is a lot lighter and a lot more humorous. Like when Indy comes running out of the tunnel with the cross, and everyone's gone. He goes, everyone's lost but me. And he sort of like, then he tries to jump on the horse, do a heroic jump on the horse, and the fucking horse shifts and he lands on that. And straight away, that's the tone right there. Slapstick and quick wits. And it's just like, well, there you go. That is the tone for your movie.
But not dark.
That was missing from Temple of Doom.
Yes, a sense of humour and a sense of restraint.
Yeah, less screaming, please.
Yes, less Willy. Pardon the phrasing.
We all want less Willy.
Well, I don't know. Speak to Steven Spielberg. He married her. But yeah. So. Yeah, I don't think you get away with the humour in Raiders, but you would. But I think the humour in this is so well judged. I mean, even just the little bits which are obviously to show that Connery's not James Bond anymore. Because when he does that bit when it starts the fire, there's just a little moment again which I really appreciate. It's all the little moments that Connery does, where Indy goes, "In my back pocket. There's my lucky charm," and he reaches back and it's a lighter, and he goes, "It's a lighter," and he goes, "Burn the rope," and he goes, "Oh, very good," and he's like he's just realised what he's got to do, and then he fucks it up, throws it over there, and you look on his face, as he's sort of trying to blow it out, and it's like, it's just like, "Sean, the floor's on fire and a chair." And he never admits it. He's never admitting the problem's his.
No.
I just love it. I love all that stuff. Yeah. But anyway, sorry. So, is how do you feel about the actual MacGuffin? Because, indie films do tend to live or die a lot on their MacGuffin. The fourth one, especially, that I've heard is utterly shit. But how do you feel about it using like the Holy Grail as the MacGuffin? Anyone got any thoughts on that?
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is there anything weightier than the Holy Grail?
Well, pound for pound, the Ark of the Covenant, really.
Nice.
But no, it's one of my issues with the film, the Holy Grail. I mean, I love the that marvelous use of the temple at Petra. I think the set inside and the three tests are great. I like the old with the Grail Knight and the whole choosing of the Grail. But it does feel a bit underpowered compared to the Ark. And you know what I mean? It's kind of, it just drops down a crack at the end. You think, that poor knight. He's been all these years guarding it. And look, at these twats just couldn't obey a simple rule.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's a lot more believable in the current climate than it was back in the day about the Moronism of people. But it does feel kind of like, I just saw what I thought. He should be raising his hand at the end. He should be giving the fucking finger. Like, fuck you all. What have you done?
Yeah. I've got a lot of cleaning up to do now, don't I?
Do you have to go and fish that out?
Yeah. It reminds me of the hermit from Life of Brian. Break my vow of silence, break my bloody foot, eat my juniper bushes, you bastard! Like... But yeah, no, I mean, as far as it goes, the MacGuffin element of it, soon as it does the same thing that Raiders does, which is essentially once you realise there's a limitation to it that no one can overcome, like you can't go past the seal, then it makes everything Indy does completely null and void. Pretty much like the Lost Ark, basically as soon as they open up the Lost Ark, they were all doomed, whether Indy was there or not. And so it does pull that same trick of kind of like, yeah, you know what, the Nazis got the Holy Grail, brilliant, and then they all died when the entire cave collapsed. Or they ran out of people trying to get past the fucking tests because they were running out of people pretty quickly there.
Well, you kind of have to put a limitation on absolute power, don't you? Because otherwise, Ford wouldn't look old in the fourth one, allegedly. So, what they're going to do is just hang around in that room all that time. No, it's. I like what they've done with it. I like that it is so grand, and everyone's trying to find it, and everyone wants it. And once you get it, you still can't have it. You still can't take it away with you. It's a thing that is there. You don't get to spread it around the world. That's not how it works. It is there. If you want it, you can have it, but you have to live with it and in a certain little room, and that is it. You ain't going anywhere. That dude has been in that room for 700 years.
Yep.
He doesn't know anything about aeroplanes or anything. He's just been sat there just preaching away. Brilliant. Where's he get his food from? Silly things like that. He doesn't know about fast foods or anything like that. But it's I like the way that. Okay. There's a bit of disbelief there where Indiana Jones meets a 700-year-old plus knight.
Yeah.
But by that moment, you don't care.
No.
You really don't care. I am watching it this time around. I was sat there going, okay, but he's 700 years old. And then you realise they've pulled this sort of thing before, haven't they?
Yes.
They've done this before in the other two movies before and the one after, and I'm sure they'll continue to do that. And when you get to that moment, you're like, I've had too much fun up until this point for that to be ruined by his age. It doesn't matter. It's just an old knight, and that's all we need to know.
Yeah, well, if it at that point they've kind of established that it has to be an actual magical thing, because if it doesn't work, then Sean's dead, and that's the end of it. And it's another element to the whole film about like the faith of the quest, if you know what I mean, the faith that you are going for a reason, that you're going to make it, that this thing can do what it can do, which is what Henry Jones is all about. He's after it, and there's also a little hint of why he's really after it, which is, there's a little line on the Zeppelin about that your mother kept her illness from me, all I could do was mourn her, and that was, it was at the crossroads before he goes to Berlin. And, so there's this sadness and this thing that's broken the two guys up. And the Holy Grail as an option, as a thing that could bring eternal life. You could see why that was a sort of an obsession for Henry. So, yeah, if there's a 700-year-old knight, you're sitting there going, yeah, the fucking Holy Grail works. Brilliant, fantastic. It's done. We've come here for the right reasons. So...
But just in these two rooms.
Yeah, but just in these two rooms. Yeah. You can. It's like I don't know. There was a moral one, isn't there? You could either have a horse-sized duck or a duck-sized horse. Yep. Sort of thing. Is well, that'd be lovely, but can't use it. I don't know where I was going with that. My analogy has crashed and burnt. Please talk amongst yourselves. But anyway, so as far as it goes, I mean, I think the MacGuffin is kind of secondary, really. It doesn't really matter. It could have been anything. It could have been the fucking the key to Atlantis, or the Spear of Destiny, or...
Well, do you know what? They also show you that it doesn't matter as well. It really doesn't matter, because when Elsa's going for it and she's falling down that hole, and Indy's like, no, just let it go. And then all of a sudden, he's in that position. They swap that position immediately. And straight away, he's like reaching for it. He's touching it. Oh, my God, he's going to get it. And then it's just, Indiana, let it go. And then you realise it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
It doesn't matter.
But once again, it shows the destructive power of obsession. You see, which is what the whole thing's been about right from the start, the obsession, and that's the trap. The Holy Grail tries to get you by making you obsess on it to your own demise. You just have to let it go, and once you do that, you become you get illumination.
Can I ask everyone, what are your favourite lines in it?
I'll let everyone...
take one favourite line from it. What is your favourite line from it?
What? You guys go first, because I've got too many.
Can I say mine?
Go on in.
Nice landing.
Thanks.
It's just the way that hits that barn. It's like bang. It's a proper car crash, isn't it? With no seatbelts. He's like, nice landing.
Yeah.
Let's see. So many. Dad, 11 o'clock. Why? What happens at 11 o'clock?
Jim?
Oh, so many. I do particularly like the one that line about goose-stepping morons.
Oh, yeah. Like yourself should try reading books instead of burning them.
That's a favourite.
Nice.
I remembered my Charlemagne.
Yeah. Let my armies be the trees and the rocks and the birds in the sky.
But probably my favourite, though, is Indiana. We called the dog Indiana.
You were named after the dog?
And that's such a great line because it's at the very end of the trilogy as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
And that makes you go back to the beginning.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. Which is a double reference as well, because the actual dog that was called Indiana was actually a Malamute that George Lucas owns. And the dog itself was actually the influence for Chewbacca. So Harrison Ford plays a character named after a dog that influenced Chewbacca. There you go.
It's full circle, man. Full circle.
Yeah. I just love... I mean, there's so many little one-offs, sort of like she talks in her sleep and all this sort of thing, I'm, ships that pass in the night. I'm as human as the next man. Dad, I was the next man. It's disgraceful, But it's just all the little things, like when they're on the Zeppelin, or did I taught you self-reliance. No, you taught me that it was less important. I was less important to you than people who've been dead for 500 years in another country, and I learned it so well. We've hardly spoken for 20 years. You left just when you were becoming interesting. And then there's that moment. He just goes, "Okay, well, what do you want to talk about?" And just sits there staring at him with his kind of really intense, goggly eyes. And it's just brilliant. Oh. Yeah.
Happens to me all the time as well. That's a great line.
Yeah. This must be like a normal day for you. Better than most. I don't know. Yeah, it's just so well written. It's so fun, and like I say, Marcus Brody's little. Does anybody here speak English, or maybe ancient Greek? Marcus has got 2 days ahead of you. He'll blend in, disappear. He knows 50 languages. Got lost in his museum. Yep.
I've put that picture in our little chat thing on the Facebook Messenger thing.
Yeah.
If you want to glance at that.
I've just seen it and I hate you.
Yeah. Can I point out another thing that I really noticed this time round? I know there's little things like the petroleum is not flammable until it is, and then it's not, and then it is, and then it isn't.
Yeah.
But when they're on the boats, them really beautiful, expensive boats, and it's getting chopped up by that propeller, how does half a boat not sink? Because that is like a full boat, and then it's getting sliced up a little bit, by little bit, by little bit, by little bit. And then there becomes a point where the motor mountings just pop up.
Yep.
And then they're at a half a boat situation. And if anyone's ever watched Mythbusters, when they tried to build half a boat because they tried to save on money and then tried to float it and then it sank, and then they were like, well, of course it sank. It's half a boat. And they get to a situation where you're at half a boat, you're like, well, it hasn't sunk yet, has it? No, it's just a bit, oh, God. But I can still let it go because I've had too much fun with the big choppy thing going to get them.
Well, I will say this. I can tell you exactly why it didn't sink, because it is in a water tank. Which was like 100-foot wide square swimming pool out the back of Elstree Studios, because I actually stood beside it. Yeah. Not the actual propeller, because they'd taken it down, but there's a little plaque on this, basically what is a concrete, looks like a concrete swimming pool from the 1970s. You know, like those ones you got in, those ones you get in the park, which you used to have in the park with the blue bottom.
Like a Lido type thing.
Yeah. And it's literally, it's about 60 feet long and it's about sort of 50 feet wide. And it's a little plaque that just says something like Venice propeller set from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And you're like, oh, that's disappointing. It's just literally just a concrete block. So that's why it didn't sink, because there was, it must have been about 4 foot deep. It wasn't exactly, the bottom of the boat was actually sitting on the bottom of the water. That's why it didn't
just being dragged backwards.
Exactly. Just dragged along some shitty old concrete. Actually, I have to say, that is the one bit that I don't like in this film. If I was going to pick any bit, is that bit on the boat. Those boats, just simply because it goes from Venice to quite clearly running up and down the Thames, because all those fucking cranes in the background and everything. I don't know whether we were supposed to believe that they had those cranes in Venice.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I'm pretty sure that's where they've got the Excel Centre.
Exactly, there. I was going to say it's definitely what's now Docklands, because all those big old black hoist cranes from the 1930s and the 1940s are all just there, and it's just like, yeah, you can get away by saying it's 1930s, but you can't get away by saying that's fucking Venice. That is quite. I was literally looking for Crystal Palace in the background at one point. It's just like, where is it? They must have filmed this, because they filmed the same bit from the same direction. So you see the same 4 cranes going past over and over and over again. It's just like, oh, come on. You couldn't just film somewhere else that didn't have 60-foot high dock cranes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only bit where I kind of twitch a bit, because it's just like, but by the time that scene ends, we're off to the castle to see the tapestries.
Oh God, yeah.
Harrison Ford doing a Scottish accent. No.
It's got great sets in it, though, isn't it? This has.
Yeah, all the Venice stuff. Apart from the docks, I think is really well done. But yeah, the Petra, the place in Petra though, that stuff carved out the fucking rock, that looks amazing. One day I'll go there. One day I'll stand there.
I've read that it's just a big room.
Well, I don't know. I would imagine so.
But that's it. That it doesn't go further back or anything like that. It wasn't based on that at all. It's just Petra's just uses the front of it, and they've just decided, we'll have it open up inside. Apparently, it's just like a big carved room, and that's it.
Oh, right.
Obviously, the people carving the front were like, well, we've done all this. You want us to do the inside now?
Oh, shit.
That's a big fucking mountain in there that we got to do.
Yeah.
How about no?
Yeah. How about no? Also,
it's going to cost you.
The only other thing... that... Ooh.
DIY SOS, Nick Knowles down there.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are outside Petra, where they didn't complete this building.
Yeah, Tommy Walsh from fucking, was it House? What was that thing Tommy Walsh was in, where he used to go bright red just by lifting up a piece of MDF?
Ground Force.
That's the one.
Changing Rooms.
Changing Rooms.
What's that show where they had the shoddy builders on it?
Front.
Yeah.
What was that called?
What's that?
There was a show where they used to have. It was all about people who hadn't built things correctly.
DIY disasters.
Well, it was that. There was also the one where they had. It was. They actually tracked the guys down and filmed them doing, what the fuck was that TV program? It was like a, Lynn's Full Wood. And we've got this bloke here who's a bit of a cowboy.
Oh, that is Changing Rooms, isn't it?
No, it was the investigating one where they. Oh, I can't remember now.
Oh well, Watchdog.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I was gonna say just get Tommy Walsh coming in with a fucking bit of two before trying to breathe, walking forward more than 4 feet, carrying a bit of two before and a fucking chisel. Right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carve out a nice rock relief out of this wall.
What if you give me breath back?
What wall do you want down?
Exactly.
That one?
Yeah.
That's not a wall.
Just out.
That's a supporting wall, that.
just out of shot, there's like an entire camera crew carrying oxygen masks, just trying to keep him upright.
What I could do is I can put a little cubby hole here so you can pass your dinner through the kitchen.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to have to go looking on YouTube for Tommy Walsh clips now for the Facebook group for all those people who don't have a clue what we're talking about.
Yeah. Lawrence Llewellyn Benjamin or whatever his name.
Bowen.
Bowen.
He rocks up. Well, yes, we could do a nice feature wall over here, couldn't we?
He was so different from his dad, Jim.
It was little mascots he didn't get on with.
No, that's right. Okay then. Well, I mean, has anyone got any last thoughts? Because otherwise it's just going to be us quoting the fucking film until we eventually run longer than the actual film. Anyone got any last thoughts?
Can I be honest?
Yeah?
I cried a little bit when it finished.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. I welled up a little bit.
No, that's understandable. It's to be quite honest, if Sean hadn't absolutely sullied his reputation with the Avengers that followed just after it, and LXG, and Entrapment, and First Night, and basically everything else where he basically just took the paycheck, I think this would have been a perfect coda to his career, to be honest. And it's a perfect coda to the fucking trilogy. It's so lovely. They actually ride off into the sunset, and that's it. Roll credits. End of.
Well, that was the thing. I watched all of them riding into the sunset and just them wandering to the left. And they had like a little radio going, no, turn right a little bit, little bit right. Yeah. And they all four went right, and then they all four went left. And I was just watching all four of them just disappear, and I was like,
that's it.
Can't get any better than this, can it?
Yep, that's where it should have ended. And let's be honest. I mean, it doesn't really need saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. John Williams' music in this is absolutely fucking spot on. The fucking Grail theme, the da 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 da. It's just like, I love it, and all the Nazi themes and the da 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 da. It's all so well done, and the final bit as they're riding off into the sunset. The da 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 da. It's just a perfect ending. Yeah, it's so nice. It's a shame I've heard that they're going to be starting to film the fifth one in fucking 2021.
Really?
Yep. July 2021 they start production.
It's going to have Ringo Starr in it.
What?
Fuck it. Fuck it, Will.
Indiana Jones meets the Beatles.
Indiana...
He could be the bad guy. Oh, look, said Thomas, a non-believer.
Heresy, said Thomas, putting on his armour imperatus.
Ready the blade for the sacrifice, said the fuck controller.
Yeah. George was the largest of the steam engines, as this sacrificial virgin was about to find out.
Well, that could be it. Indiana Jones goes to the Isle of Wight. Or is it the Isle of Sodor or whatever the fuck?
Sodor.
Sodor, that's it.
And he comes back with a jar of coloured sand.
Oh God! Right.
What are they going to do on the fifth one? Sorry,
I don't know. I mean, if he started,
Neither do I, probably.
Oh, well, hold on. How old?
Because it was Russians in the fourth one.
Well, I mean, if it's hold on, Harrison.
Well, if you want to go for the big one, you go for Atlantis.
Atlantis would be the big one. I mean, he's 70. He's 70. Harrison Ford's 78 right now. So by the time they start filming, he'll be 79. Assuming that assuming they start filming next year, which, let's be honest, is a bit touch and go at the moment. But if they start filming next year, he'll be 79, which means that he'll film for a year, so that he'll be 80. So he'll be 80 years old by the time the film finishes production. Probably tons and tons of effects work on it. Because, let's be honest, they're going to have to keep him upright with a fucking string and a fucking broom pole.
I'm going to bawl my eyes out when he passes.
Yeah,
I really am. I'm gonna ugly cry when that happens.
Yeah, I mean that will be a sort of like proper marker for the end of the era. Because I'll be honest with you, he can't be long, can he? I mean, I don't want to do Deadpooling on it, but let's be honest, he's 78. Fucking Connery went at 90. And Ford seems to be obsessed with flying planes into the floor. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this podcast might go into sort of anaphylactic shock if he passes, because we may have to go through an entire season starting with American Graffiti and working right up till, I don't know, Blade Runner, but via Firewall, because why not? Get off my server. K-19. Oh, good lord. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just have an episode where we just go, oh dear. So he'll be 81 by the time the film premieres. Let's put it this way.
Bloody hell.
That's if it gets started next year as promised.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That doesn't sound like a positive step to me. I don't think. Unless they have him telling stories from his rocking chair like they did with the fucking TV show.
Was he in the TV show?
Only for one episode. Where he played Indy. He played Indy at the age of 80 or something, and he had one eye missing, and he still had the hat and the coat and everything, but he was living in I think he was living in a shed somewhere. But I don't think that's a good idea. I genuinely don't. But anyway, so any last thoughts, or we shall move on? I think silence was the stern reply. Well, for what it's worth, my last thoughts are: I think I don't often use the word perfect because no film is perfect, but this is very close to it in terms of pure. And when I mean being perfect, I don't mean it's absolutely flawless in special effects, because some of the Zeppelin stuff looks a bit shonky, and like I say, Denham Elliott's very good, but occasionally they have him mugging to the screen, and Venice, like I say, is clearly the Thames estuary. But as far as it goes for a movie where you sit down, you go, turn it on, I enjoy it, I have a thoroughly lovely time watching it. And by the end of it, I go along with you, Elton. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in the near future I'm not sitting there with a little Indiana Jones and the onion bag of doom, sitting there in the corner of my eye. But it's a lovely film. It's a lovely, fantastic film. It's got its problems, But if anyone wants to talk to me about them, they can fuck off. Which leads me to saying that if anybody has any thoughts on this episode, do leave your feedback at facebook.com/group/Black Dog Podcast, or at Twitter, which is at Black Dog Podcast, or send us an email in to feedback@Black Dog Podcast, and we'll read them out next week. Now, it's time for the film for next week, which is my choice. Now, I put up a poll saying, did people want a shit film? Where I was just going to pick some random shit off of Amazon, because there was tons of it. Amazon just seems to be the birthplace of like mushrooms, of just like shite, from Bear Kano right through to Larmageddon. Or do you want, something a bit more fun / nostalgic? Because, this doesn't necessarily need to be nostalgic and fun, or fun and nostalgic. And then, or do you want a serious film? And I did the poll on Twitter, and I did the poll on Facebook, and the unanimous decision, in a grand total of 48 votes to everyone else, I think in a grand total, I think there was about 60 votes in total, combining the Twitter and the Facebook ones. There was about 60 votes in total, and it was unanimously in let's have a fun film / or a nostalgic film. So I thought, oh, that's great. I'll go look on Twitter. I'll go look on Netflix, and I'll go look on on Amazon, see if I can find anything. And you know what? I couldn't find a fucking thing. Because nostalgic, in my mind, is the 1980s, and fun is films that I enjoy watching. And I couldn't find a 1980s film that I enjoyed watching, which you didn't have to pay for on Amazon, or you could actually find on Netflix. Because if you type something in on Netflix, like for example, I thought, you know what, I'll have a look at, see if I can find the Adam West Batman. And I typed that into Netflix, and do you know what it gave me? The first option.
Christmas.
No, you're close though, Jim. It gave me Schindler's List.
Fucking hell.
I typed in Adam West Batman, and it came up Schindler's List. So in the end, I ended up having to go for films that were enjoyable.
Some 12-year-old's going to have a bad day, aren't they?
They fucking well are. One day they're going to go, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. Next thing you know, there's Liam Neeson going, sort of staring at a load of Jewish people.
Al Ghul, or whatever his name was. Yeah.
Well, that's it, isn't it? That's it. He was in Dark Knight, wasn't he? He was in Batman Begins. Yep. Of course. Now I understand how Netflix got there. Not that I necessarily agree with it, but there you go. So I had a list of films, and I ran those list of films past my my colleagues here, and I said, what ones do you like the sound of? And silence was the stern reply, apart from one which Elton said he definitely wouldn't like. So I'm now looking at this list right now, and I'm having to pick. So I can't fucking decide. I genuinely can't. Okay, I'll tell you what. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. Production meeting on the air. There's a number between 1 and 7. Jim.
3.
Right. Okay. Darren. 1, 7.
7.
Elton.
1.
Okay. Right. Okay. Now between 1 and 3. Jim.
2.
Okay. Darren.
3.
Fucker. Elton.
Let's go with...
All to play for, man.
Let's go with 2.
Right. Well, there you go. The decision has been made, because Elton's picked, along with Jim.
Oh no.
The same film.
Jim picked it first. It first.
The film we're going to go for next week is on Amazon Prime. It is, I think, by definition, probably the cheapest film we'll be reviewing this year. by quite a margin. It is the debut of one of the biggest directors on the planet today, one Mr. Peter Jackson. We shall be watching next week Bad Taste. Now, have we seen Bad Taste? And if so, what did we think about it, Jim?
I saw it many, many years ago when it first came out on a grotty VHS.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe what I saw.
No.
You know, and every time I've seen it, I've not been able to believe what I see.
Yep. I don't know how we're going to discuss this one. Darren.
Three.
Too late.
All I know is I'll be watching this one by myself. Yeah. No. I think I liked it when I saw it. Because I think we went to the cinema. Did we see it?
No, we saw. No, we nicked a copy out of Blockbusters in Bellingham.
That was it. Yes.
Mm. And when I mean nicked, I mean we weren't allowed to hire it.
Stole it. Yeah.
We were too young to hire it. Okay. And Elton.
I've never seen it. I've seen the cover, and I've seen the cover was always there in the video store down the green when I used to go down there, and used to look at it and go, ooh, don't fancy that, and rented the real Ghostbusters instead. So, no, never seen it, mate.
Okay, well, I would say you're in for a treat, but I'm not entirely sure you are. But we'll see. We'll see. Do watch it on your own, and I don't mean that because it's scary. I'm saying do watch it on your own and don't eat while you're watching it.
Oh, okay.
Please do not eat. Eat before watching it or eat after watching it, but do not eat while watching it.
Yeah, don't eat while watching it.
By the way, fact fans, anyone else want to know the list? The last three, the choices, which it came down to. Number 1 was Deadpool, number 3 was Bad Taste, and number 7 was Stir Crazy. So there you go. That's why when you both settled on number 2, that was Bad Taste, when I whittled it all down to the 1, 2, and 3. So there you go, just to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So,
don't want a Blue Peter moment, do we?
No, exactly. I could put up the entire list, but I'm not going to do that in case I pick another one from it. Right. So, yes. So we'll see you next week for Bad Taste, Peter Jackson's first very low budget, ultra low budget horror film. A comedy horror film, I'd say, probably closer to the truth. Low budget, I can't stress that enough, and it's on Amazon Prime. So, before we go, Jim, do you want to fill everyone in on what's going on in the wonderful world of Hypnagoria, sir?
Well, tomorrow, probably, I'm dropping a new episode of Commentary Club, which is doing the second half of Jim Henson's The Storyteller of the Greek Myths. Probably on Friday, I'm dropping a wintry ghost story on my From the Great Library of Dreams podcast. And at the weekend, on the main show, I'm reviewing what a lot of people are saying is the best new horror film on Netflix. A film called His House.
Now, I saw that this morning, and I thought, I wonder about that.
Long story short, if you liked Under the Shadow, this is very much a perfect partner for that movie.
Right, okay. Okay, that sounds interesting. All right, well, maybe, we'll listen in on that, see what you think. Okay, dokie. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com, yeah?
It is indeed.
Lovely. Right, okay, and Elton, what about you, sir?
Well, this Friday just gone, we recorded a episode of Shonky Lab. Darren popped on there. Thank you very much, mate.
Oh, I certainly did, yes.
It was a long one, a very long one, and I have all the files and I have to edit it down somehow to make it a bit more coherent than what it actually was. So, yeah, hopefully that'll be out very soon. But you can find all the stuff that I normally do over at road2media.com.
Yes. It was available on YouTube as well.
It is, but there's a sync problem. Well, I was using OBS for the first time, and it's kind of the sync is out a little bit. So if it appears weird, it is. And I've got all the video files that I have to put back together to put that up. That's going to be a mission. So expect that sometime in 2022.
Nice. Good work. And that's why we don't do video versions of this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Okay. And Darren, presumably you're over at Rogue 2 then.
That's right, I am.
Available on
Funny
Rogue
enough.
2. Rogue 2, yay. Cool. And you can find me on The Great Derelict this week, where I join Andy Palastides along with Jem Williams as we do... I'll just come out and say it. 3 fucking hours ranting and raving and whooping and yelling and generally being a bit geeky about the wonderful world of Mass Effect, which obviously got its remaster announced on November the 7th, and a fifth game, announced as well at the same time. So we had something of a geek out. And that will also explain why the podcast will not be available through spring 2021. Because I will be fucking playing that game like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, so there you go. And you can find that over at greatderelict.libsyn.com. Right. I think that's about it. I think we've dotted all the T's, crossed all the I's, ruined all the metaphors, fucked everything up. We've done enough Sean Connery impressions to last your lifetime. Yep. And yeah, it's time for us to say goodbye. So, thank you very much for listening. Stay safe. And once again, if you want to send any feedback in, do send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Go to the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/blackdogpodcast, and see us over on Twitter, which is @blackdogpodcast. So, until then, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And we shall see you all next week for Bad Taste. So until then, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Oh, bollocks to it.